Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you for being with me again today. Today, I will discuss two articles, one related to an explosion or some explosions in Russia, and the locals are blaming Ukraine on a Ukraine helicopter. And the other article is about Russia using, allegedly, or per Ukrainian armed forces reports, using Soviet-era rockets or ammunition. Now we can discuss both what are the implications are and maybe the reasons. So the first article comes from the new Voice of Ukraine from June 14th, 2022, and this is the title: Russian border town experiences explosions. Locals suspect aircraft attack. And I'm quoting: today, Zaimishche village close to Klinsky was shelled, he claimed. And this several residence buildings are damaged, according to the information we have as of now. Four people were wounded. They are receiving medical care. Klinsky Info, a local website, quoted several residents who said that they heard two noisy clicking sounds on the outskirts of the town. According to people who say they witnessed the explosions before this happened, a helicopter appeared in the sky over Clincy, and then flew away. One of the commentators on Polslushano Clincy, a local social media group, wrote that helicopter was making circles above the local military base, then fired twice and started flying away. Commentator added that one of the missiles hit the territory of military base. After the explosion, several districts of Clincy lost access to electricity and water, while traffic lights on the roads were also knocked out. Soon, Russian helicopters are said to have appeared in the sky above the town. Well, one of the commentators uh, about the town to check on the situation. Yeah. So basically, what they claim happened, it was an foreign, not a Russian helicopter, shot seems to be two missiles, and then flew away. And the Russians woke up and came in the area just to assess the damages. No information received on if that helicopter was shot or anything like that. So this is if this is the Ukrainians doing this, and I don't see anybody else shooting, unless there was some crazy Russians shooting Russians. Then the Ukrainians are upping their, or how should I put it? They're pushing their luck. But I don't know. The Russians said that if their territories will be attacked by Ukraine, they will hit certain command posts and blah 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 in Ukraine. I didn't see that happen, or not. I didn't see that happen. I didn't hear that reported, because I don't know if it happened or not unless it's reported. And if these guys do not report it because they have a little sign not to report it, if you know what I mean, they're not reported. And if you don't believe me, things like this happen, then you have to look at the connection between the United States government and mass media when the U.S. government calls the certain media outlets, and that this was not only during the Vietnam War, so the connection is long. When they said do not release this information yet, or do not receive this information after we give you the green light, and so on. So there are some books over there talking about this connection, and not connection, but it's a subordinate, almost subordinate relationship between the government, United States government, for instance, and some big media outlets that are nowadays, I would say they're infiltrated with former and current employees of certain departments or services. That's the better word. Nevertheless, let's move on. If we didn't hear certain things, it's not it doesn't mean that they didn't happen. It means that it's very possible the information to be stopped for now, because we're gonna hear about this in after the whole thing is done, and then you can't do anything about it. Like for instance, Finland and Sweden right now, they vote based on the popular, scare that it's right now. So they do this as it is hot. The issue is hot. Now, if this passes and say, wait a second, actually those are assholes or something like that, then they say, hey, why do we get in trouble with the Russians? Maybe the Russians are not that bad. Maybe the other ones are as bad as these ones. So they withhold information. They make a certain public opinion. They implement and they make some laws, orders, and they change some policies, and then after that's done, when they come with, oh, my bad, we forgot to tell you this, that cannot influence the current changes done. They would have changed the public opinion then in not supporting the policies or infringing certain rights and other things. Usually that's how it goes. In time of emergencies or popular scare, that's when you pass, immediately you pass laws, because the population is scared. There you have it. So yeah, the information could be very well manipulated, as you know. That's not a genius thing, but anyway. The second one is from second article is from Ukrainska Pravda from today, June 14th, and says here that Russia saving modern missiles and striking Ukraine with Soviet rockets, Air Force of Ukraine states. The Russians occupier have begun to save their modern missiles. Outdated Soviet models are being launched in Ukraine. And I'm quoting here recently by Yuri Ikhnat, spokesman for the Air Force of Armed Forces of Ukraine. Recently, there has been a tendency for Russia to save their high-precision, expensive missiles, and now the enemy is increasingly using Soviet types of missiles. The latter is an extremely powerful missile. It's an X-59 and X-22. The latter is an extremely powerful missile, the destructive part of which weighs 900 kilograms. It leaves great destruction behind, but its main drawback is that it does not hit the target. Civilian facilities are often struck, so they're not accurate, they're saying, so they're often struck by it. According to Ikhnat, Ukrainian aircraft missiles forces have shot down more than 500 invaders' air targets since the beginning of full-scale invasion. These are Russian cruise missiles, UAVs, planes, and helicopters. A spokesman for the Air Force also added that for about 2 months now, Russian aviation has not entered the territory of Ukraine, which is controlled by armed forces of Ukraine. The Russians are using helicopters and strike aircraft over the occupied territories. So, according to these guys, they control their airspace, which I doubt, but nevertheless, why do you need airplanes when you have rockets? Regarding the use of outdated or old technology, I would say there could be two reasons, and those reasons could not necessarily exclude one another. One is yes, probably you want to save your old ones, but then why would you use something that, let's say, is ineffective? Maybe it's ineffective. Okay, they're ineffective. I don't think they're that ineffective as this guy says. Otherwise, why were they designed? Okay, they don't have the same high accuracy rate as the modern one. Okay, I give you that. But on the other hand, if you are using old ones, that means you're certain that these ones would hit a target. That means the opponent is not good enough to hit them in the air or defend itself. So it's like, why should I use something expensive and technological advanced when I can hit you with a caveman armament? If you're so, let's say, if Ukraine has such a low capability of defending itself from rockets, and these guys say, okay, let's use the ones that we used in the Second World War, just saying, no rockets, whatever, use those. That means you're certain that these guys are so incapable of defending that those are good to go, and why should you not use? I mean, from an cost benefit, yeah, use those obviously. And the same, maybe, yeah, they want to save it. Maybe they run out of the other ones, and still these are still functionals. Well, I don't care if you send a lot of them in the same area, you're gonna hit the target eventually. So yeah, I don't think that's a bad deal. I don't know I do not know. It didn't mention the distance that they can cover. I mean, I know with the modern one you can send it hundreds of kilometers, but with old ones, I don't know the distance. But nevertheless, you bring things to the front and you hit from there 50 kilometers or 20 kilometers or 30 kilometers is good enough, because they know. I mean, and you keep the modern one for the Western Ukraine when you hit the transports of Western weapons to the front, or you let them come in, or you just hit them at the border, at the Polish border, where there's no too many ways to come. I mean, there's no 1,000 roads there are, or train tracks that could be used coming from Poland. And if we hit those in a few spots, they need not days, I don't know if days, maybe days to redo the infrastructure capable of allowing that. Yeah, you can go by train mostly for certain equipment. You can go by trucks. The trains, if you hit the rails, they're done for a while, and then you hit again, and you hit in more than one position. They need weeks to repair all that and make it stable for the train to keep going. If you use it by trucks, then you can't get heavy armament. Yeah, you can have it. Obviously, you bring it in pieces and you put it together, but how many, it's yeah, they use the old ones. I think they do the job, and probably they should tell more about the Ukraine ability to defend itself, which is probably low if these guys are using this. Regarding Ukrainians um, having air supremacy on their territory, I don't know. I don't know if the Russians have any intentions to go over there with their airplanes, and why would they? Their goal is not to conquer Ukraine. The goal is to achieve their little thing that they still have to achieve, which is about what 5% of the territories of Luhansk and Donetsk and Donbass and whatever. And they're about to complete that, and they can keep the Ukrainians out with the rockets. I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with that tactical decision. Use the old ones and use the expensive and more accurate ones for um, whatever targets are farther away. And besides, why would the Russians hit civilians? Why would they hit civilians? Is because the Ukrainian army is with the civilians? Yes. Look at all the fights. They're in towns. Why is it in towns? Why is it in towns? Because the Ukrainians, went in the towns and they're waiting for those Soviets, the Russians, to come and fight them in towns. Yeah, okay. They're defending the population in towns. Then what do you want me to do? Just let you go? So part of the guilt, or how do you want to call it, of these civilians dying is because the Ukrainians are hiding in towns. You say, well, they hide wherever. Okay, they hide wherever. I agree with that. But then you are also responsible for the civilians when you are around them. I mean, what do you want me to do? You shoot at me from a residential area, and you want me to do what? Nothing. Nothing. That's what happens if I put my military infrastructure in the town. For instance, I shoot at you from there. I'm not supposed to shoot because there are civilians, right? And who's to blame? Me only? All right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.